at the end of the day, this whole women taking the last name, it's kind of an arbitrary custom, this cultural custom. You know what else is kind of an arbitrary cultural custom, in my opinion, in a way? Marriage in general. So my thing is, I'm happy when people get married. I'm happy for it. I'm undecided if I ever want to, and I've been pretty clear about that in past shows. My thought is marriage is kind of this whole thing. You get together, you get married, legal documents, and you change your name as women. So how come you get to pick and choose which parts of that arbitrary, weird custom get pulled away and which don't? If we're going to say that marriage is great, all the things about it should be great, including taking the man's last name. No?
No, because I feel like if you're bonding yourself to someone, it's a whole different thing than just marriage is not just about we're having a party and saying we're together. Marriage is a legal ceremony that makes the two of you one legal entity. So when you consider buying property, when you consider having children and being able to go to the hospital if your significant other is hurt and get in the room, which you might not be able to if you're not their spouse. You might not get their property. Let's say you bought a house together. You might not automatically get their property if they pass away. It's all these things that I know you don't want to think about. They're very grown-up things. But these are the reasons that we get married. It really was about safety and security in harnessing yourself to another person. Because remember, in generations past, women didn't even have the ability to make their own money. So now we do, and now we can have an equality partnership. But that does mean that that paper has a significance, but the changing of the name doesn't necessarily. And it's such a big pain in the ass to go through that process. I actually went through it twice because first I hyphenated my name, which was really a mess.
Good call.
That trying to explain it to you, like the technicians on the phone, you know, it's RESNICK dash HOFFMA. I was like, forget it. And then when I had kids, I just went ahead and changed it to Hoffman. But then I had to change all of my documents, all my driver's license, all my credit cards, everything. And I still have problems with it to this day. And it's been like 6 or 7 years. So I would say if it's not such a big deal, then why don't you take the woman's name?
Well, if we're going to pick and choose which parts of the marriage custom we can pull off and discard and eschew, then isn't that a slippery slope? If we're playing devil's advocate, if it's like, oh, well, that part of marriage you don't like, well, you know what part I didn't like as a Johnny Everman? This whole like full-on commitment to you sexually. Can we just get rid of that part? Isn't that antiquated?
That's why you don't want to get married. But here's the other thing about it. Taking a man's name also meant that you basically became his property. That's the reason you changed your name, because I'm no longer property of the Resnick clan. I'm part of the Hoffman clan, and the Hoffman clan now claims me and is responsible for me. I feel like that kind of ownership has no business in modern relationships and really is something that could be discarded. I took my husband's last name because I wanted to, and I wanted to have my kids have the same name as me, but from a feminist perspective, I actually think it's totally up to the woman, and she should decide what's right for her.